On November 17, 2012, 36-year-old fisherman José Salvador Alvarenga, who lived in a small village in Costa Azul, Mexico, went to sea with his companion Adrift in a small boat to fish. This sea was one of the most beautiful places in the world, the vast Pacific Ocean. To understand how huge the Pacific Ocean is, you can imagine that even if all the land, deserts, mountains, and rivers of the world were combined, they would still be smaller than the Pacific Ocean. Their plan was to spend only 30 hours at sea, so they didn't take much with them. Their small boat, about 7 feet long, had only an engine and an icebox to store the fish they caught. They had brought only enough food and water for that time, but something unexpected was about to happen that they could not have imagined, even in their worst nightmares. They were about 120 kilometers from the shore, laying their nets when they suddenly saw a dangerous sea storm coming towards them. To save their lives, they left the nets behind and rushed to their boat. After 6 hours of non-stop sailing, by around 7 in the morning, they were only 20 kilometers away from the shore and could even see the mountains on the land. They managed to escape the storm, but then their luck ran out. Suddenly, just 20 kilometers from the shore, the engine of their boat broke down. Without oars to row or a sail to steer the boat, it was hard to reach the shore. They did have a two-way radio, through which they informed their boss about their location and waited for a response. But their bad luck continued, and while they waited, the radio battery died. When their boss noticed they had been missing for a long time, he organized a search team to look for them in the Pacific Ocean. But as days passed, finding them became more difficult, and eventually the search was called off. Now they were lost in the Pacific Ocean, and being lost in such a vast sea meant it was almost impossible to find them. The Pacific has only a few very small islands, and many of them have never been visited by humans. 5 days after Josh and Cadoba went missing, strong winds had pushed their boat about 450 kilometers from the shore. They were now in a part of the ocean where only water could be seen in every direction. Their small boat could not be spotted from a distance. They had no flare gun to signal for help, nor could they start a fire to create smoke as a signal. They realized their chances of survival were slim. The food they brought was already gone. To fill their stomachs, they began catching birds that sat on their boat or ate the fish swimming nearby raw. They knew drinking seawater could harm them, so they collected rainwater in plastic bottles floating in the sea. But when it didn't rain for days, they started drinking the blood of turtles they caught. But even that was only possible when they were successful in catching one. Sometimes, when they found nothing to eat after trying all day, they chewed on their fingernails to lessen their hunger. Days turned into months, and they endured extreme physical and mental suffering. 4 months passed, but Cadoba began losing hope and stopped eating and drinking. His health deteriorated, and one day he passed away, leaving Josh all alone. Josh gathered his courage and continued to survive alone. According to maps, Josh was now in one of the most isolated parts of the Pacific Ocean, where cargo ships rarely passed. More than 6 months had passed since he left the coast of Mexico, and he had lost his companion during this time. His hope for survival was almost gone. One day, Josh saw a cargo ship passing far away in the sea. It was the first ship he had seen in the past 6 months. This sight brought hope back into Josh's heart. He tried various gestures to get the ship's attention, but unfortunately it was too far, and the crew couldn't see Josh's small boat. The ship soon disappeared from his sight, and with it, Josh's hope faded again. Imagine how Josh must have felt after fighting for his life for months and then seeing a chance for rescue slip away. After 11 months, Josh had traveled 8,000 kilometers on the sea in his small boat. His clothes were torn, and he had only an undershirt left to shield him from the sun. Finally, on January 30th, 2014, after 14 months, Josh saw coconuts floating in the water. He realized there must be an island nearby where these coconuts had come from. Soon he spotted an island. Afraid of missing this chance, Josh jumped into the water and swam towards the island. After 14 long months, he reached solid land. Josh saw a house with some local people inside. For the first time in 438 days, Josh came into contact with another person. This island was Ebon Atoll, a remote part of the Marshall Islands, about 11,000 kilometers from where he had started. Josh was lucky to have reached this island. If he had missed it, the next closest place would have been the Philippines, 5,000 kilometers away. From Ibon Atoll, Josh was sent back home, but even after returning, trouble awaited him. After coming back, Josh published a book titled 438 Days, in which he shared his entire journey. However, Cordoba's family accused him of murder and filed a case against him. Josh unwillingly set a record for spending the most days at sea, a record few would ever want to break. This was the story of a man who survived 438 days in the world's largest ocean on a small boat. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments what you learned from this story. See you in the next video.